Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about Big Brother 23 and this Brent blindside.
Blindside-ish, maybe?
Ish, yeah.
We'll take it. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, we would love that. And there is a link in the description. And I think Sarah puts the link on the screen too. So
it's there. It is. You can see it. You got it.
Yep.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. How is everyone doing?
Oh, happy Brent eviction party.
Yes.
This episode, I almost started to feel bad for Brent.
I did too.
It was.
And I kind of felt bad for him up until the end because they made fun of him in those goodbye messages. Well, especially the ladies. They were like, "Goodbye, Brent, and we are not sorry to see you go." Yeah.
Enjoy your flight, sir. Keep it moving. CBS was like, look, there's nothing else we can talk about. The vote is not even up for debate. He's leaving, but he's delusional about it. So, hey, let's have some fun with it, they said.
Yeah, right.
And they did. At the top of this episode, so we're going to talk about this episode, obviously. We already said that. But at the top of this episode, his plan worked. Veto wasn't used.
Yeah.
This is all because of him.
Yep. He's the puppet master. He's, organizing one of the biggest blindsides in BB history. And he's saying the votes. I mean, at this point, he's actually being conservative about the votes. He's like, the votes are going to be 6-5 in my favor. Mm-hmm. I mean, over the course of the past week, we got to like 9-2 in his favor. So here he's, even a little bit humble, I would say, coming off of this veto ceremony because he thinks he's only going to get 6 votes at this point.
Yeah, because what he knows is he's got his team and he's got the queens. And they give us a little bit of the clip of when the mafia was formed, and they gave us goofy music under it. And then they gave us PRs where these people are like, this is just for Brent. It's not a real alliance.
Right.
If
this
Brent
is only
wins
real to Brent.
HOH, then great. We've covered our butts.
Right.
But this is not for us.
No.
So those are the votes that Brent thinks he has there.
Yep.
Then he continues. We continue with Brent's delusion. And now he's talking about next week when he stays. What's going to be his plan? His revenge plan.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean, he is talking up his game and talking up the future of his game to anyone who will listen. And, it is fun to see, we saw a lot of this on the feeds, obviously, but like all of it, obviously. But, you're just seeing them listen and cool, Brent. Yeah, cool. Like they are keeping up the charade, and I love that they showed the moment where Brent busted Hannah talking about him because that was so awkward when it's just like, when you're busted like that, it takes a very smooth person to make their way out of it super cleanly. And I don't think Hannah did a good job, but I also don't think Brent necessarily picked up on it. No. But she was so awkward when he's like, "Why are you smiling?" "Oh, the sun's in my eyes." I'm like, "No, oh God, no."
She's like, yeah, no, she didn't play that off very well at all. But Derek X, he did. But I just love that Brent. And this is kind of why he's been evicted. Like, this is what rubbed people the wrong way. One of many things was that he'll just come into a conversation and he'll tell you. So he's like, hey, Xavier can't play HOH next week, so we'll put him up next to Christian. And in his head, that's the plan. He said it out loud, and that was the plan. And he moved on with his day, and he went to talk to somebody else. But nobody else agreed to it. No one else said, hey, and then we'll put someone else next, let's go after X and Christian. No one's giving him things back really, but in his world, that's where they're headed.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a little bit why he feels like a puppet master, because he's not getting any like pushback on his ideas. People just seem to be accepting them. So he's like, I'm a genius. Like everybody is just listening to me because, of course, my plan is the best plan and it makes total sense. So that's why, nobody's offering an alternate plan ever or really engaging in conversation at all.
what was you said I'm a genius, but really what he said was his in his mental.
Yep.
That's what he said. He had a
Yep.
lot going on in his mental.
In his
so that's really okay. All right. So then we get a cute little segment where they're figuring out that Xavier is a lawyer. This is true. They have
Derek
been.
F. It reminds me of when Davon was like, Liz is a twin. Remember? And she just like said it. She knew it. And Derek F. like knows it. He's not necessarily like a dog with a bone here, you know, like really trying to like out Xavier, but he just keeps saying it. And it's like, yeah, you're right. You got it. He is a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, they all joke around, but it is true. When Xavier's like, dude, we're working together. Why are you saying that?
Yeah.
But you know what? Derek F., he says things. And to be honest with you guys, he told Brent last night, Brent does not have the votes. And he ruined the blind side for us. Brent still has his ego. And so I think he didn't fully believe Derek. But that is why his face.
Yeah, he didn't look surprised.
Looked super sweet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of like a little bit more somber than I was expecting, you know, during the whole episode, really. His body language is just a little bit slouched and wasn't super animated or passionate at any point. So I was like, he knows something's up. But he like played it off like, oh yeah, for sure. Did not see this coming. Like, I mean, it's the right move, but no, I didn't know. And it's like, but you did. Like, why are you lying about that, you know?
Well, he was like, no, I had an idea, because his ego won't let him be like,
sure.
No, they got me. Like he could never admit to that. More just roasting Brent here. They're hiding from him. This is true. The people were like constantly moving around, and Brent was constantly walking into rooms and doors and all this stuff. And they made this little scene with him and Whitney actually kind of nice, where she was like, come on, just, you know, as you move forward in life, just like think about what you're saying. Like, be respectful. And that was a nice way to do that segment, because in reality, he was like, I'm amazing still. And they did cut some of that out. So that was nice of them.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, oh, you know, it's the East Coast thing. And she's like, okay, but like, that's not really an excuse. Like, you should really examine the way that you communicate with people, because it's poor. You have poor communication, Brent.
Yeah, you do. All right. Well, this part of the episode I loved. David, when do we get strategic talks before we even have the HOH? We haven't even evicted anyone yet.
I know.
And
well, that's like when
this.
Yes, that's when you know the vote is a done deal, right? It's done like deal. They are moving away from this week because there's nothing left to be said. Like, Brent did his version of a campaign, whatever that was, and it didn't work. So we're just moving on, you know, like we are going to focus on the next targets. And, you know, we're getting, I think it starts with the aces, you know, all kind of strategizing together, talking about like, we need to target the kings, and Derek X is a little bit like, to their face. And I think he does agree that, you know, the kings are dangerous with their team still intact, but as a member of the royal flush, like he can't really take that shot. So he's like, love that plan, but somebody else is going to have to do this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so wonderful about this edit, is because this is this cast is so full of gamers, and they are constantly having these conversations. And yeah, they formed an alliance called the Royal Flush, but they're also aware that there's a showmance in that alliance that needs to go. Like, they're not even protecting their full alliance. They just know they can't take the shot. But they do understand the kings need to be broken up. A showmance needs to be broken up. And I just have been loving this on the feeds, and I love that we got to see it in the edit. Yeah, DX knows he can't do it. We see Tiffany and Claire admitting, yeah, the kings do need to be knocked down. But who do we, you know, what do we do about that? And DX is the one that suggests, like, hey, let's utilize Whitney, because he doesn't want Whitney to be the target. That's the other
Yep.
name he's hearing.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, like, let's use her. She'll do the shot for us.
Mm-hmm.
Then also
Yep.
we see the Kings, and they're like, hey, let's go after Hannah and Whitney.
Yeah, right. I mean, Christian and Alyssa straight up in the bathroom are like, Derek X, like, we want to go after Whitney. And so that, like, I mean, you know, he thinks of her as a potential person who can like take a shot at the king. So he doesn't love that. Also, she's on his team, you know? So he's like, even though he's not like really married to the aces, like he's more with the royal flush, obviously, but he recognizes like, if another ace goes, like, that's just not great, you know, like we got to keep these numbers as even as possible.
Yeah, I don't think that they know that teams are ending. Like, this is technically our last week of teams, and they don't fully know that. They're not aware of that. So they're still thinking team strong, break down other teams to keep the numbers as even as possible. But yeah, I'm loving all the different conversations. I mean, Xavier's over there trying to keep the target off of certain people, and then he accidentally allows it to go on Hannah, and he's like, oops.
I know. Yeah, I just really am loving the like publicness of the team alliances. Like, they're not really alliances, but they know that they have to work together for as long as the teams are a thing, you know? So it's like that public grouping versus like the private alliances, and just watching people navigate that, where it's like Xavier just has to pretend to be on board with getting Hannah out, but he's like, oh no, I want to keep the cookout plus Hannah intact, so that actually doesn't work for me. So it's a lot of like strategic thinking that people are having to do, and I agree with you that it was fun to like see it on this episode.
You can just say cookout. Hannah's a part of the cookout.
So because someone told her the name, right? Because initially they weren't looping her in on the name. Like, they were all together, but I don't think she knew it was called the cookout until recently. Someone like accidentally told her or something, and now she's in on it.
Right. Like, I don't know why they refused to tell her the name, but they always said the six. Like, they always included her in the cookout, even though she doesn't know about the cookout. But yeah, she accidentally heard the name now. But she is part of that. So yeah, Xavier needs to figure out how to fix that. He did not, by the way. And that's going to come up here shortly. So
yeah.
Brent is evicted, you guys. 11-0, unanimous. Not even a Derek F gave us a rogue vote here.
No. And there was some talk of Alyssa maybe voting to keep him and voting for Brittany, but that didn't pan out either.
Oh no, she was not. She did not like him.
Yeah. So he's gone, 11-0. Not the reaction we were hoping for, really, because Derek F did spill the beans. And you know, you're exactly what you said. His ego will not allow him any sort of like humility, like, oh, you know, they really got me. It was more like, well, of course they had to, because I was.
Have you seen him, David?
Yeah.
At day one, when he walked in the house, he had a big old bullseye on him. Because have you seen him?
Yeah.
Then I was happy that he at least admitted he hasn't done anything to be a target. And I was like,
I know.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Little piece of truth.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he said, I'm not surprised my team went against me. Derek X went against me the first week. And I was like, sir, he never did. Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh
I know.
my gosh.
Yeah. It's
all right.
Just like,
you're out of the game. Move on.
I know. I just am really like, I'm like so thrilled he's gone. But I just keep thinking about like, oh my God, if there's a battle back, like, please do not let Brent be the one that fights. No,
there's no battle back. He got too much information. There's no way.
That's true. Okay, good. Phew.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Don't even worry, David. Don't even worry. All right. So these goodbye messages, though, are just salt in the wound.
Great. That's great stuff. And I think he's a little bit like, here he can't really hide his face, right? His surprise at like, wait a minute, they're actually roasting me on my way out the door. Okay, so.
He's like, this is not going well.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't a good look. What? Yeah. My heart starts to go out to him at this one because, like, this isn't good for anybody to just, like, sit up there on stage and be like, you're awful. We don't
Yeah.
like you. And you're
Yeah.
like, ooh. I did find it interesting, though, that Derek X was polite and, like, half truths. Like, he didn't say, I threw the comp for you to go. He didn't,
Yeah.
he was just like, man, when the house came for you, sorry.
Yeah, we do know though that I think Derek X is still figuring out all the ins and outs of Big Brother. So maybe he's like, Brent might be on the jury.
Yeah, he might not fully understand how the jury works. That's true, but he's figured out more about the game than Brent ever would. So, all right, now this HOH comp. What the heck was that, and how did we get to where we are?
Why was it? People were struggling in ways that were shocking to me. Like, they're trying to put a piece on in a certain way where there would obviously be a huge gap. Like, they were really struggling with the concept of flipping a piece around to make it fit in a certain slot. I was just like, how are you not seeing this? Like, it must be a very different experience up close than it is seeing it on TV, because they really struggled.
What was this? We have to work as a team to build a puzzle. Welfare check on Caitlin. Is she okay?
No.
Puzzle, but timed. And you only have so much time. And then you have to come back and a teammate has to go up.
Yeah.
The last teammate who puts the final piece together will be HOH. I was like, what is this comp? Why is it so complicated? And then on top of that, the camera was on the wrong team.
I know.
And we all missed that Christian won HOH.
The end was so anticlimactic because it was just like, you hear the bell go off, but we're watching on the strangest camera view.
We're watching Derek, and then the bell goes off, and I was like, well, what did he do wrong? And then they're all celebrating a win. And I was like, what?
And it definitely, I was like, who won? Like, I don't know from the Kings who won until Julie said, like, Christian, congratulations. I mean, I should have guessed, like, Christian, good Lord, cannot lose a comp to save his life. But
let's break this down because, I think what you're talking about was probably over on the Queens. The Queens were throwing this, and it was so just blatant. They were like, what's a puzzle piece? And then they sat it down and ran back.
I mean, they were definitely a mess, yes. But I also thought Derek X was surprisingly bad at like figuring out the mechanics of this puzzle. I was just like, what are you looking at? Like, this is completely wrong.
I was like, no, Derek X and his team will get this no problem.
That's
right.
What I thought.
And then I don't know, was there a miscommunication? I don't know. But now Christian's team, the Kings, they knew they had to win. They know they're in trouble. As the only team of 4, they knew that someone would take a shot at them. So they wanted to win. But Christian was the least that wanted to win, right? So they had this conversation beforehand where they said, Alyssa will take the win if she can. If she can't, then Sarah Beth will. And then if they can't, Christian will. And I was like, oh, great. So this comp actually, you could put one piece in, run over and pick who's going to put the last piece in.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's going to be HOH.
This is the easiest comp to throw to someone on your team. Yeah.
So why Christian is the HOH doesn't make sense. Doesn't really matter to us. It was just because Christian didn't want to look like a comp beast.
Well,
so this is just bad for him when you could have given it to Sarah Beth.
Exactly. Like, he just really should have thought about like, oh, there's one piece left. I can run back now and have somebody else. Like, I don't know if he was concerned about like, what if they see me throw it to my teammate? But like, who cares? You're going to be safe that week. Like, there's no issue here to, in throwing it to a teammate.
Okay, first off, I don't think anyone was going to see anything because they were like screaming at each other.
Oh my God, I know.
This was so frantic. I was like stressed and didn't fully understand this HOH comp. And then again, here we are. Christian is HOH.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
I mean, oof.
I know that the Jokers were really trying to win. I know they really wanted this, and honestly, I wanted it for them. I wanted to just see the mass chaos that a Joker HOH would give us.
Yes, right.
I'm pretty sure the Derek X's team wanted to win it as well because they know that Hannah and Whitney are in danger. So I don't think they threw it. I genuinely think that Christian beat them. And so you guys, it's a Christian HOH.
It is. And I mean, it's good for him because he would have been targeted by, you know, some of the people who could have won this HOH. Like they definitely wanted to target Christian and Alyssa and break up that showmance. And I think there was a little bit of waffling of like, who would we actually keep? Like which of the two of them is more likely to kind of like bounce back and work with other people? Maybe that's Christian. So maybe we lose Alyssa, you know, but then Christian is the comp beast. So maybe we lose Christian. So there was like some waffling over whether he was going to be the target, but he was definitely going to go on the block, you know? So this is maybe better for him than he even realizes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. They knew they had to win, whether who was going to go home, who knows. But let's break it down. Let's talk about what a Christian HOH is going to mean.
Mm-hmm.
We already said their target is really Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
But they also are targeting Whitney.
Yeah.
So those two would be the obvious first noms.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's going to depend on the wild card competition, like Julie said, because Whitney is eligible to play. Hannah is not. So
if Whitney were to win this wild card comp, then we got ourselves a game, guys. What's that going to mean?
And I'm interested to see what the twist is for her, because she said something about like, will they accept safety for themselves while putting others in danger?
Right.
So I'm curious what that means. But do you think if Whitney wins, she's going to know, like she's going to realize like, I need this safety no matter what?
No. And that's what's interesting is because earlier today, Derek X really wanted to tell Whitney, you are in danger. You need to win this HOH before they knew what the HOH was going to be.
Yeah.
But the rest of, I don't think it was all of Royal Flush, but there was like a large group together that said, no, we can't tell her to gun for this, to worry her, because then if she doesn't win the HOH, she'll gun for wild card. So we can't set ourselves up for her to win wild card.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like they're like, great. If she can win HOH, great. And she can take that big shot. But if she doesn't win HOH, we still need her to be available to be evicted. That kind of thing. And Derek was like, wait, why? She should win wild card, like save herself. And they were like, well, then who goes up? One of us? You know, like that kind of fear of like, if she's not the nominee, then is one of us a nominee, which I don't think it would be. I think it would probably fall on a Joker. But, you know, that's how you play. So I don't know if the word will get to Whitney. I don't know if Derek will say something, if Hannah will say something, but those would be the only two that would really stress that Whitney is in trouble.
Now, do you think Hannah knows she's in danger?
Hannah know that Hannah's in danger?
Yeah.
Yes. She has been told, not like scary, but like, you know, so your name has come up. Yeah. You know, like you should probably win HOH, like those kind of conversations Tiffany's had. Xavier Kyland, they have sort of expressed a slight concern for Hannah's game. Now, Hannah sitting next to Whitney, if those two noms happen and those stay, Hannah has the numbers to stay. So it's not, nobody's really attached to Whitney. She's kind of an island.
Yeah.
So no one is, you know, they're going to fight to keep Hannah. So it's not like detrimental to her game this week, even though I think people will be nervous that she goes up. But if Whitney wins wild card, then who is the other nom? If Whitney wins veto, who's the other nom? And then does she have the numbers? That's the question.
Right. Do you think it would be Brittany again?
That's a good question. Christian talks a lot with Brittany, and Christian is definitely someone who would feel bad about putting Brittany up.
Yeah.
So I could see it falling on like a Derek Frazier or an Azza going up. And in that case, that makes the cookout really
unhappy.
Yeah. What do they do in that situation?
I think they got Hannah because she wasn't an original member of the cookout.
You would think.
But do you think they're getting exhausted with Azza at this point? Because I know they're like, Tiffany has talked about Azza's like so emotional, and like, you know, they're kind of realizing maybe they don't love her game as much.
Tiffany and Azza definitely don't click. They are struggling to communicate. So maybe Tiffany is willing to let Azza go to keep Hannah. I don't know if the rest of the cookout would be willing to keep Hannah and let Azza go at that point. But they might be able to convince Christian to put Brittany up, and in which case Brittany would go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be very interesting. And I would like last week, I wish that Brittany had one wild card just so we could see her accept safety, random people become safe, and then like chaos happens. I would love to see that this week. Whitney has to take safety no matter what the consequences are, and then what happens, and then probably one of our fave goes, but that would be sad. But I'm here for the chaos and the mess of it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so with the wild card competition, I'm like trying to think in my mind, like who has played and who's still eligible from the other teams as well. On the Jokers, I know Brittany has played. I think Derek F has played. So is it just Azza who would play?
No, it's just Brittany's the only one who has played. So Azza or Derek Frazier could play.
Got it.
Whitney's the only one who could play on aces. Claire's the only one who'll play on queens. And then on kings, they don't have to play.
But they don't play, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So it will be Claire and Whitney. It's just a matter of like Azza or Derek F.
Right. I bet it'll be Azza, because is Derek going to choose to play a comp? No, he doesn't want to get off his futon, guys.
Right. And so then it'll probably be a similar situation where they'll be ganging up against Whitney because they don't want her to win the wild card, right? Like Claire
didn't Kylan play the first week, Molly?
I thought he did. He did the noise one. Yeah.
So I don't think he can play. Okay, I'm sorry, David. What'd you say?
I was just saying, do you think it'll be another situation like the Brittany wild card where they ganged up against her because Claire is in on this plan to target Whitney, right? And
yeah, I mean, if it's in any way a comp where I don't think they're going to do another knockout style comp, though. That would be weird to do back to back. But yeah, whoever, like I'm sure Claire is going to have the mission statement to beat Whitney. Yeah. Just to keep her eligible to,
right.
not be safe.
Yep. So Whitney's really got a task ahead of her, but it's really a matter of like, is she going to get the heads up, and realize she's going to play the wild card. She's the only one who's eligible from her team, but does she know that she needs to really gun for it, I guess?
Yeah. And I think Derek will do some hints. He'll do some subtle, go for it. But whether she picks up on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I already passed the comment, but someone said she looks upset on the feed. So maybe she's getting the info. Okay. And then also just a little bit more on that. Christian does get along with Hannah and talks game with her. And so he would lean more towards getting rid of Whitney. But Alyssa's really the one that's like, Hannah's got to go. And I think a little bit of that might be jealousy, but also Sarah Beth and we saw some of it in the episode tonight. Sarah Beth really was like, Hannah is so smart. She knows this game. We cannot manipulate her. She had some really good game points, guys. I know if your favorite is Hannah, you don't like to hear it. Yeah. But those were all solid game points and all very, very true about Hannah. She has the numbers, so more than likely Hannah's okay. But it's really Sarah Beth and Alyssa that are like gung-ho anti-Hannah.
Yeah, right. So you think then that if Christian noms Whitney and Hannah, his target would be Whitney?
Yeah.
Okay. Got
But
it.
I don't think it matters, right?
Because I
Doesn't
was,
really
yeah, I
matter.
was just kind of curious if this would be a situation where the House doesn't do what the HOH wants, which I always like seeing. But,
Right.
you know, his
Hmm.
target ultimately would be Whitney. And that's probably how it would go down if those are our final two noms.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting if he really was like, it should be Hannah. I mean, Alyssa's going to say it should be Hannah. And this is
Yeah,
probably a co-HOH between the two of them.
true.
I guess they will enjoy that HOH.
Yeah, at least they have the privacy of the HOH room now, and they won't have an HOH walking in on them making out in the bed. I know you talked
I'll be
about this
interested.
yesterday, but
Yeah. Hmm. Fun times.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Christian runs an HOH because we've had weird HOHs. Frenchie was all over the place, and then Kylan was like, "I'm an executive, and this is how it goes." And then Xavier tried to kind of copy what Kylan did, but then like he had meetings every day, and I'm just like, after veto, you don't get to have meetings. What's happening?
Yeah.
So I'll just be interested to see because Christian is like, you know, he's not the brightest bulb up there. He's not going to like run these meetings the way that Kylan and Xavier did. So
Yeah. It will be interesting to see more of Christian's strategy, whatever that means. But to see him in this like power position and see how he handles those conversations and how much he involves Alyssa, because I think you're absolutely right. It will be a co-HOH, but like interested to see if there's any information he doesn't share with her or whatever.
Right. Well, I think that's it, you guys. I will be on the feeds all tonight and tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow afternoon to tell you what I've learned about a Christian HOH and where we're headed, and if somebody wins wild card and gets safety or any of that fun stuff.
Yes.
And you know what also, David?
What?
This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
Hey! Thank you. Thank you. It was yesterday, everybody. But thank you. Leo season. Right, Sarah?
Our favorite Leo. I love that you were like, sorry, Leo. But David is my favorite Leo.
Yes.
We love David. We're so glad that you're having a happy birthday week and that you still joined me here, even though you probably
wouldn't miss it.
Something. Okay, thank you.
No, this is top priority for me.
Yay! Birthday!
Yes, thank you guys.
So I think that's it. You guys who are here in the chat, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your insight. You know, we love it.
We do. And if you're joining us later, we love your insight too. So leave us a comment. It also helps the channel, helps us, in that good old YouTube algorithm. So just leave a comment about whatever. But specifically, we would love to know, were you disappointed that there was no Brent Blindside? What do you think Christian's strategy is? And who are some of your favorites now? We're a few weeks in, and I feel like we're understanding what people's games are. So who's standing out for you?
Yes. Leave all of that in a comment for us. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye.
All right, bye.